Yeah. I love that sound effect. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. New episode. Welcome to Live in the Lab with Q Unique, episode 4. This is pretty exciting. Isn't this exciting? Let me get another round of applause there. Yo, there we go. Feeling that, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'll get to you guys shortly with your questions and comments and all of that good stuff. Before we get started, I just want to remind you, make sure everybody please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. Means a lot to yours truly. Plus, want to keep you in the know. I want to keep you in the loop every time I do a live feed or whatever have you. I want you, to be the first one there to receive the goods. You know what I mean? So please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and thank you. A couple of announcements before we get into today's subject. Tomorrow will be the world premiere of the new Q Unique video for the song Remember Me. I believe it's going to be streaming. I believe it's around 7:15, 7:30, I believe. So go check it out. It's already up on the page. Make sure you hit the notification button on that as well. I'll be there in the chat to see the premiere for that video. Very excited about that. Remember Me is a single, the last single I'll be popping off on Viper Records. 7:15 on the West Coast, 7, 8, 9, 7:15, 9, 10:15 in the East Coast. I gotta use my fingers, man. What I was saying is the final single for me on Viper Records. It's a bittersweet moment, but nonetheless, we are still moving forward. Much love and much props to the people over at Viper Records. It was awesome working with them. I got to do the 3 singles, which was It's Not Over, Let's Go, Vámonos, Andiamo, and tomorrow will be Remember Me, the official video. Song was produced by the great Zach Baird, and it was also co-produced and mixed by the awesome Scott Stallone. So please come me tomorrow to check it out right here on my YouTube channel. We're going to get to other stuff after I get into the subject matter. We're going to talk about the new Q Unique merch that's been happening, but we'll get to that after the mic booth visit. Ladies and gentlemen, today what I want to do is I want to dedicate and talk about on this episode my brothers, my cousins, some of my best friends from the legendary, the amazing Non Phixion, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Going to talk all things nonfiction, my encounters with the group, all of that good stuff. Ill Bill, Lord Goat, which was formerly known as Gore-Tex, Sabak Red, DJ Eclipse, and as an honorable mention, MC Search. Non Phixion is a group that was in the same circle of independent artists during, I would say, from the mid-90s to where we are currently right now. There was a scene that was popping off. And, I've talked about Fat Beats. We talked about the Stretch and Bobbito show. And what I'd like to believe is that groups like Non Phixion, The Arsonists, The Juggernauts, Company Flow, Natural Elements. I like to keep all of these groups in order and try to remember them. Should have wrote them down. But we were all part of this incredible independent movement that was happening in New York City at the time. And Non Phixion was just one of those groups that you just had to listen to, you had to watch on stage. To this day, they still bring it on stage, and if you're a true fan, so when they come together, they're incredible, and then each individual member has an incredible legacy of music that they have on planet Earth right now. So if you haven't heard about Non Phixion, do your homework. NonPhixion for those that know the song, or for The Future Is Now. So now I want to talk about my encounters with Non Phixion and my experiences with Non Phixion. Beautifully, And amazingly, my relationship with Non Phixion starts in high school. The first member of Non Phixion that I met was Sabak. Sabak and I grew up in the same neighborhood of Gravesend, Brooklyn. And we ended up in the same high school together, Lafayette High School. For those know about Lafayette High, right there by the Marlboro Projects off of Stillwell Avenue. It's an incredible school for survival tactics. But so as the story goes, I was a without getting into too much detail for those that I'm with, songs like the setup, my life was kind of crazy, and Lafayette was one of the many high schools I encountered in my adventures of learning. So when I got to Lafayette High School, Sabak was one of those kids that stood out. Sabak stood out because he was one of the few people, aside from Redhead Kingpin, that I ever saw a redheaded dude with a high top or a low top fade. He was amazing. But what really made Sabak special to me was that he was a club promoter for the area. And at first, I caught a couple of flyers of some of the shows he was promoting, and it was like hip hop stuff mixed with freestyle music, and it was amazing. And I remember one time I caught him in the main office, and he was talking to some other kid, and they were talking about how he was trying to book Bismarck, Bismarck, rest in peace, by the way, and they were talking about prices and stuff. So this was my first learning experience of watching somebody talk about booking shows and promoting them and stuff. And I happened to interject because I already loved what Sabak and his crew were doing. And I had went to one of their shows before I even saw who Sabak was. And at the time, he was handing out flyers for this club called Stargazers. And at the time, he had booked Tila Rock with Greg Nice as the beatbox and a freestyle singer by the name of Nocera. And it was an amazing show. But before I even got to the show, I asked Sabak, he didn't know who I was, but I asked Sabak, yo, homie, can I get a stack of flyers? I'll hand them out for you. I didn't even want the money or anything. I just felt like at that time as a kid, being able to hand out flyers, giving people information to an amazing show was like dope status. Like I was the man because I was informing people of these amazing shows that were happening. So that was cool. And to be able to meet Sabak at that point, we didn't really talk. We didn't really kick it like that. But that interaction obviously stood in my brain. So by the time you fast forward and I got to meet Sabak, it was like, oh shit, homie, you went to Lafayette. You was homie with the flyers and all that. So it's, it's one of those, oh man, that's an amazing moment. Hold up, let me pause for a little BlaQ Coffee, little Nazir. I never sleep. Sleep is the cousin of death. You like that? You like that, son? I forgot. I bought this. There was like this little mini indoor flea market, and this homegirl was selling like a bunch of hip hop stuff like this, and I thought this was amazing. I bought this, and she had some pins and stuff. Anyway, shout out to Joshua, Mayor, John Milburn, and Crazy Legs up in the piece right now. Shout out, shout out, shout out. So fast forward a few years. Now, before I even fast forward, what makes this story even amazing. So I meet Sabak in high school, and directly after high school is when I started working odd jobs in order to pay for studio fees. One of the studios that I had heard about, and I believe it was on the Hank DNA, the DNA show, for those that remember that show in New York. And he was talking about this studio by a homie named Wes, and the name of the studio was Little Rascal Studios. And it was in Queens. I believe it was in, where was it? It was close to Jamaica, Queens. It was in the cut. It was in the cut. And I come to find out that I had booked a few sessions there, and simultaneously, Ill Bill was booking sessions there at that time. This was before Non Phixion. This is Ill Bill doing solo stuff at that time. I believe he was doing solo stuff. And so that's another like weird, like we haven't even crossed paths yet, but we had crossed paths. It just goes to show you how certain things are part of that paying dues, walk. So it's kind of cool. That's like a nice, cool little historic tidbit that myself and Ill Bill were frequenting the same recording studio out in Queens. Shout out to Harold West. Wes was he was a fascinating character, man. Wes was the type that would drink like almost a whole bottle of Cisco and engine. For those that know what Cisco is, that's like alcohol for bullies. Makes you want to fight. It brings out the violence. Oh, oh man, that's funny. But although Wes wasn't a violent dude, but Wes was the guy back then, man. He had a lot of people like going up to his studio, Little Rascal Studios, and that's where I believe myself, Ill Bill, and a lot of people just started like getting our footing as far as learning about the recording process, making demos, learning how to loop. That was the only thing about Wes, though, I gotta say, and Bill knows this. Now, for those that make beats, it doesn't really take long to loop a sample. But, Wes, I get it. It was business. Wes would take a little long to loop your sample. It'd take him up to like 30, 40 minutes. He kept on hitting the same button, man, but it's all good, man. It's all love. I'm just happy that there's that tidbit of information that myself and Ill Bill frequented this place. Shout out to Little Rascal Studio. Now, fast forward, and I was in a situation where before The Arsonist, before we dropped our first album, I was living at Destroy's house on his mother's couch. So I was looking for a job. I got one job working at this one record store called Coconuts. Then then I ended up writing some songs for some pop groups. I know. It's a strange story. We'll get to that tidbit later on in a later episode. And then after all of that kind of died down and I got into the Nomads, I was looking for another job again. And Bobbito from the Stretch of Bobbito show hooked it up where he got at the great and legendary DJ Eclipse, to see if he would hook me up with a job at Fat Beats. Now, this is the early days of Fat Beats. This is when Fat Beats was on 9th Street on the east side. When you had to go downstairs, and it turned into Footwork later on for Bobbito, but this was the OG Fat Beats. And when I showed up on the first day, Eclipse was already, I already knew who Eclipse was because of the Nomads and DJ Buddha Sess introducing us. And also being an avid listener of the Stretch and Bobbito show, like many of us were, there were times where DJ Eclipse would cover for Stretch. And so DJ Eclipse was becoming like, an underground legend to us listeners. He was dope at what he was doing, and he was dropping and playing some dope tracks. I actually got Eclipse playing on some of the Stretch and Bobbito shows on some tapes that I got in the stash over there. So shout out to DJ Eclipse. That's what I met him during the Nomad days. He was a huge Nomads fan. Jice One, ladies and gentlemen, Jice One is in the building. One of my arsonist brothers is in the building. Salute to Jice One. So from the moment I met Eclipse, now fast forward. So Bobbito hooks me up with a job with Eclipse to get a job at Fat Beats. I roll up, and that's when I officially meet Ill Bill. And I think and Bill would probably have to correct me, and it is what it is, but I think both Bill and I started on the same day. And if I remember the staff, it was DJ Eclipse, myself, Ill Bill, DJ Mr. Sinister from the Executioners or the X-Men, Loki, Ryan, and Joe. We were the staff at FAP. That I think, and I think Breeze from the Juggernauts. I don't know if he was there or if he was over at Sixth Avenue. I don't remember, but I remember him being in the mix. And DJ 3, but we're not doing a Fat Beats thing. This for nonfiction. I'm just trying to connect the dots for you, ladies and gentlemen. What up, Reef? Shout out to Reef. Okay, so I meet Bill, and Bill, Nonfiction had just dropped No Tomorrow. It was dope. I remember playing that shit over and over again. Both sides were just beautiful. Just a very powerful single to kick off Nonfiction's journey. And shortly after that, so I think Company Flow dropped first, and then Nonfiction, and then shortly after that, the Arsonist, we dropped the session with Halloween. And this I want to say this family started to form. As I had mentioned some of the groups earlier, Nonfiction, Company Flow, Arsonist, Juggernauts, Natural Elements. The list goes on and on and on. And Asaya and Yeshua. The list is just vast. When we had the 50th anniversary of hip hop, I gave a lot. Like I did this whole list with DJ Eclipse. And we spoke about this circle of friends that we all became during this movement, this independent movement. It was and I gotta say, it was a special thing to be a part of. Anyway, so and then shortly after meeting Bill, that's when I met Gore, and there they were, Nonfiction, and then MC Search was in the mix as well. Now, what I admired about Nonfiction back then was their level of dedication and professionalism towards their craft. Instantly, when you listen to their first single, On, they were about the craft. On top of the fact, their perspectives were just, to me, genius, just pure genius. They brought an element to this independent movement that I didn't see anybody else doing. They were the first of their kind, in my opinion. And it was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to witness. It was beautiful to be able to share the stage with them from time to time, because you got to understand this movement, we were all doing the same clubs together. Wetlands, SOBs, Tramps, and so on and so forth. And so we were all gigging together and then going out of state together. And eventually we ended up in Europe together. And it was just, man, what a time. It was special, man. And for those that were there to witness it, you know what I'm talking about, man. It was a beautiful time. It was really a beautiful time. And Nonfiction brought it. Tight stage show, tight songs, tight rhymes, tight. Everything about them was just a very dope dedication to what it was that they were doing. Now, as far as the characters in Nonfiction, Sabak, for me, is easily one of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever met in my entire being, in my entire life. Sabak, the last time I hung out with Sabak, Nonfiction was doing a show here in LA. And Sabak, I ended up driving Sabak to his hotel or his car, whatever. I don't remember where the fuck I was taking him. And I had forgotten that every time I was with Sabak, I'd be like dying laughing. And this time it didn't change anymore. Like, he just like started talking about people from our neighborhood. Like, you got to understand, when you're from Gravesend, there's a certain vernacular, there's a certain vibe, there's a certain way of being. And for those that know OG Gravesend, where the wise guys used to dwell. So me and Sabak understand that vibe, that lingo, that language. And so when you're with somebody that's from your childhood neighborhood and they speak your language, you know how that shit feels. So Sabak could spit some shit and have me basically crying. He had me laughing so hard the last time I almost crashed the car and killed us both. Like, he was on fire, man. He always brings tears of laughter to my eyes, man. But at the same time, he's a revolutionary to me. He's one of the few dudes that I look at for that kind of information, for that kind of knowledge, that kind of wisdom, and that kind of understanding. Sabak is about his business. Sabak is a truth seeker. And I'm always gonna have a place in my heart. You know, Sabak is the shit. DJ Clips is the most balanced, even keeled, emotionally intelligent dudes I've ever seen in my life. Like, we basically call that dude a cyborg at points of time, because he's very dedicated, not just to his craft, but also to the whole culture of hip hop itself. This man is a walking encyclopedia of hip hop. He knows his shit. He has an incredible archive of just stuff that's just very important to the history of hip hop, his knowledge of hip hop, his interaction with OGs, and how everybody just has a love for DJ Clips, because we all recognize that it's real with him. He lives by a code, and that code is a hip hop code. Like, from everything from the way he plays his music to the way he carries himself, it's such at a high level of dignity and respect that you just got to salute, homie. So much love to DJ Clips for everything that he does for hip hop, and for, you know, just for being him, man. He's a good dude, man. Much love. Gore, Lord Goats. That dude, to me, is another one where his wit, his skill, his perspective, he, to me, is like if you took Pink Floyd, very rare, known films, but not talked about shit, a lingo and a slang that only he could have come up with, a rhyme style that as soon as you hear his vocal tones, everything about him is just, it's just fucking perfect, man. Gore, to me, is one of those rappers that just, he stands alone, man. He's his own planet, truthfully. And he just brings this element to Non Phixion that is so needed and so each member is an important cog, an important piece to Non Phixion. And Gore just brings, like, it's hard to explain, man. You just have to dive in and listen. It's like a lyrical LSD trip, a good lyrical LSD trip. That's to me one of the best descriptions you could give Gore. Like, it's like you're just on shrooms and you're listening to this dude, and he's painting this most vivid, crazy, detailed verbal picture of things and places. Sometimes you're gonna have to just hit Google, like, what does he mean? Or who is this person he's talking about? He's that guy. He's not concerned with trying to hit you with pop culture like that. He's not concerned with trying to walk the red carpet, and he's hitting you with authentic thought patterns. So salute to Lord Goat. Ill Bill, to me, is a grandmaster. Ill Bill, to me, is a dude that is so dedicated to his lyrical craft that, to me, he's in the top 10. And I mean that, no fucking around. No joking. Ill Bill And it's funny because we have this relationship, like a brotherhood relationship, and from time to time he'll send me something he's working on, and he'll be like, "What do you think?" And for me, it's one of those things where I'm like, dude, the only time I'd be surprised is if you came whack on the track. Every verse that I've heard him spit was damn near fucking perfect. Even if he considers some of his verses throwaways or maybe he wasn't in a good place or he's just trying to get through the day or whatever. Doesn't matter. The kid is sick with it. The kid is he's sick with it. Ill Bill. Illuminous William. He is just the real fucking deal. And he in particular with Eclipse are so responsible for kicking my solo career that it's like, and we'll get into that as we move forward with this, but I just wanted to, talk about the individuals. Ill Bill's another one where his perspective, what he chooses to speak about, it's just, again, he's just on his own, he's in his own universe. He just brings something that special to the look. You know what I want to do right now? We got to show some images so some of y'all know who I'm talking about. So there's the crew right there. OG picture. There's Eclipse in the front. We got Sabak on his left. We got Goat, Lord Gore in the back. We got Ill Bill with the Cleveland joint on the side. Oh, wait, hold on. Here we go. Boom. Where we going? Yo, man, the pictures ain't working, son. I don't know. There we go. Okay. So here we go. Another dope joint. We're all Brooklyn heads, except for DJ Clips. He's a patchwork of places. We got Eclipse over on the side, got Ill Bill and Bach looking at each other, got Gore on the side, Lord Goat. And here's one more. This is a dope pic right here. There they are. I believe this is in Manhattan, downtown Manhattan. This looks like it's towards the OG Def Jam building or something. Got Eclipse looking like the Fonz with his leather on. Ill Bill deep in thought. Bach peeping what's coming across the street. Gore coming up with some fresh lines. So there we go. That's the Non Phixion joint. So now you could pin the face to the characters. Now, this movement happens. Non Phixion, Arsonism particularly. We end up doing a lot of shows together. We develop a relationship, almost like cousins and brotherhood. Specific Arsonist members hung a lot more than others. There was a lot of people, certain people hung with certain tribes and stuff. So I got to, give props. The first dudes to actually like really go and run with Non Phixion, hang, a man Kinetic and Jice were definitely rolling a lot with Non Phixion. Me and Bill, we was always kicking it at Fat Beats. And I'm segueing into a story. So the first time I get to record, I believe this is the first time. I could be way wrong. I went over to the Non Phixion studio at the time, which was down in Brooklyn, and it was Area 51. And Ill Bill and Gore had worked out some situation where we were gonna spit on this track produced by this dude named 10K. And we were about to be a part of this, almost like a punk rock style, side A, side B, two different artists. Side A was going to be the Scheme Team dudes, the Brooklyn Academy dudes, and side B was going to be us, WHT, which was going to be Non Phixion and the Arsonists. And we were about to embark on this dope song called 14 Years of Rap, produced by 10K. So it was going to be Ill Bill, Jice, Gore or Lord Goat, and myself. And Bill was just plugging everything in, like making sure that the beat was getting done, making sure the single was going to get mixed right. And then from there, Bill put together the whole video concept and how we were going to roll with it. He got a director by the name of Nick Rigobudo, who I believe his father's famous, and he ended up directing the very first and only Arsonist music video, which was Pyromaniacs with Backdraft. But anyway, so Bill works it out where we do 14 years of rap. We shoot a video, and the video concept was just genius. It was, we were redoing an old pilot that had happened back in the 80s. What was the name of the song? It was, man, I'm gonna have to put it in the comments. I don't remember the name of the pilot. I did a reel on this with Michael Holman, and okay, I did a reel about the video, the WHT video, and we recreated this pilot, and it was dope. We pulled together a bunch of the some of the underground rappers at the time, some of the Rocksteady crew showed up. Crazy Legs was there, Frosty Freeze, and it was just dope. Necro was there, and Bad Seed, and PH Pumpkinhead, rest in peace. There was a lot of people in the building for this video, and we pulled off what became not only one of my most favorite songs that I've ever done in my career, but one of the most, one of my more favorite videos I've ever been a part of, man. And if you get a chance, check it out. I'll probably leave it in the info section of this live feed. But it was just the perfect put together by Ill Bill, perfect slam dunk, man. And it was the one and only time the Arsonists and Non Phixion collaborated on a song, believe it or not, which is crazy. And to me, the song is fucking perfect. So go figure, man. What up, honey Elvira? Shout out to you, Robin Mayer, Andrea. Dove is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Show some love for Dove. Let's get a little yeah. Dove is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. And Crazy Legs. That applause for Crazy Legs and all of that. Okay, so moving forward. I got my cheat sheets here, man. So now I'm gonna fast forward a bit. Oh, by the way, before I even fast forward and get to the meat and potatoes of my connection with Non Phixion, I want to show you just what I've always marveled at. Like, for instance, certain artists bring a certain beautiful element to packaging and how they put out product and how they roll things out. They have a specific attention to detail. Czarface is one of those groups. For those that know Czarface, my man Esoteric, Inspector Deck, 7L. Non Phixion is also one of those groups that just, when they drop, like, you see the peep the Non Phixion hat, and sporting, repping for Non Phixion. But I want to turn over here for a second. So the first thing, I don't know how I got this, but it's this little Non Phixion pen light keychain joint. The light still kind of flashes. I got to figure out how to change the battery on this. At this point, this is probably a very rare piece, but I'm kind of happy that I have it. This was for the Futurist. No, this was for the green CD DVD. This came with the green CD DVD. So this is pretty cool. I don't know how many Non Phixion fans have that, but that's a cool little piece. Then hold up. Let's do this one first. So then they released, so obviously there's a lot of videos out there and articles about Non Phixion, about them releasing The Future Is Now. The staff of producers that they put together is just insane. The album is flawless. It's a beautiful album. If you haven't listened to it, it's the most authentic, real hip hop with that Non Phixion stamp, that Non Phixion seal of their signature. You got to peep it. It's an important hip hop album. So this was their vinyl box set. It's beautiful. I never opened this. I never took the shrink wrap off. It was a collaboration between Ill Bill's label, Uncle Howie Records, and Fat Beats. And it's just, this is beautiful, man. Like, this is one of those things where you just marvel at and you're like, man, they just came with it, man. Beautiful, beautiful package. And then Non Phixion had also dropped this box set. This I actually opened. It's I'm gonna open it up here on the air. This show you the beauty, how the name is just this just very well thought out packaging, man. Like you open it, it's got the little magnetic joint in there. You open the artwork for the album is on the inseam. Then each single is like on a 45 or a 7-inch, like really beautiful. Let me see if this is colored. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, like look, this is clear vinyl, Non Phixion. Putting my fingerprints all over it. Shame on me. Got Black Helicopters, dope joint. Necro on the production. Necro is one of the most important underground hip hop artists, just hip hop artists in general, and one of the most sickest producers in hip hop. So shout out and salute to Necro. Here's the I Shot Reagan joint, real dope. The rock stars. So you got drug music, and if you got love, right there. This one was produced by Pete Rock, and this one, so side A was produced by Pete Rock. No, excuse me. Side A was produced by Large Professor. Side B was produced by Pete Rock. Black Helicopters, produced by Necro. I can't see all the credits though. I don't have my glasses on right there, man. Just amazing. I Shot Reagan. Also, I believe produced by Necro. Dope single. And did I do this one? Yeah, I did that one. No, wait. Rockstars, produced by DJ Premier. And The CIA's Trying to Kill Me by Necro. And then, so you got those, and then you got this book. Look at this, hardcover. Look at that, the foil. Everything, just detail, like beautiful book about the history of Non Phixion, the artwork to the album, the pictures that I was showing, the stories. Remember I said Sabak was the first dude I seen like redhead kingpin with the flat top, red hair, flat top. Sabak in the house, son. Just a beautiful book. So if you could find this on eBay or something, I would cop it, man. There's Ill Bill right there in the book. A lot of like little backstories and just amazing. Look, Bill on the bass. Those that don't know, man, like Bill was in the band Injustice with his brother. And so Bill is also a multi-genre artist. Bill actually played bass in my band, King's Bounty, for a brief stint. And Ill Bill named my new band Mother Fuzz. So shout out, much love to Ill Bill once again. And there's Lord Goat, there's Gore, record hunting right there. Dope stuff. Just amazing. Ill Bill and Necro right there. Boom. Just it's just beautiful, man. Like these guys, wait, I know there's a picture of Eclipse in here somewhere. Let's get to that pic. Oh, there he is. There's DJ Eclipse, dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all. Counting that stacked cheddar, son, from Fat Beats. But yeah, and then to seal the deal, it also has, excuse me. Oh. Woo, this shit is sick. Look at this. It also comes with a double CD of the album and a cassette tape, a demo, like past, present, and future. It's just what we got on here. Yeah. It's all like promos and unreleased, rare grooves and all that. Like this is a dope box set, man. It's one of the illest box sets I've ever seen in my life, son. So let me close this up here. Now, fast forward a little bit. Non Phixion's doing their thing. Arsonist was doing their thing. Now, here's where these guys became brothers in my life. So, they were already brothers, but the connection just got solidified a little differently now moving forward, because when the Arsonist came to an end, Ill Bill got at me. And, he kind of had a sense. We were talking, about shit and how shit was going. And, I was really in a dark place at that time because I was losing my crew. And thank God Ill Bill just stepped up. And initially he was like, yo, you should roll with us, man. Come do some shows with us. Just being a real dude, a brother. So, excuse me. I made the decision. I ended up going to do some shows with them. And I went to Boston with them, probably went to Philly with them, did some shows in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And then eventually, let me just make sure I got my cheat sheet here. I'm just making sure I don't miss anything first. So eventually, Bill suggests that I put out my first solo album on his label, Uncle Howie Records. That album would be Vengeance Is Mine. So not only did Non Phixion welcome me into their circle, but now Ill Bill from Non Phixion is going to be he ends up being the executive producer to my first solo album, helps me get all the producers like Necro, Juju, I know I'm forgetting some names, but you know the deal. I don't need to review all the names right now. This isn't about Vengeance Is Mine. It's just how these things happen. So Bill suggests that we work and together and put together what would be my first solo album, an album that a lot of my listeners love dearly, Vengeance Is Mine. Now, what makes Bill a genius in this is that he takes it further. He not only wants to put out my album, but he kind of turns into a Rick Rubin character at that point, where he strongly suggests that I share with the listeners the realities of my life. So with his suggestion, these songs are birthed. The setup, Diamond in the Rough, Better You Than Me, One Shot, Father's Day. These songs, now obviously there are other songs, but these songs in particular end up becoming the more important songs because they cover a reality. They bring me to a vulnerable place, but at the same time, a very angry place. I usually describe to people that moment was like a public exorcism. And Ill Bill was like the priest and the exorcist. The power of Christ compels you. And getting these crazy, dark stories out of me, but in a strong hip-hop form. And not only did he do that, but he was there like a coach, like what Rick Rubin would do, pulling the best out of me and helping me evolve as a lyricist. And because you got to understand, from the minute I heard Ill Bill spit, I always thought he was nice. So I put my ego in the trash and I was all ears because I welcomed the evolution. I wanted to evolve. I wanted to grow. I wanted to move forward. And that happened. And a little side note, what makes recording Vengeance special is that every member of Non Phixion was a part of it. Eclipse did cuts on it. I got bonus tracks with Sabak. Gore's on cuts. Ill Bill's on cuts. Ill Bill's the executive producer. On top of the fact that Uncle Howie himself, may he rest in peace, big salute and mad love to Uncle Howie. Uncle Howie himself was at every session for Vengeance Is Mine. It made it an experience that I'll never forget. You don't forget shit like that, man. We were in a studio. We weren't in somebody's bedroom. We were booking time in the studio, rolling up to the studio on 30th Street with Elliot Thomas and just going for it with this album. And Non Phixion was a part of it. Now, I jumped ahead of myself a little bit because I wanted to just cover that. But prior to this album coming out, Caves from the band Lords of Brooklyn invites Non Phixion to do the Vans Warped Tour. And because Bill and I had agreed to do Vengeance is Mine on Uncle Howie Records, Bill suggested that I run with Non Phixion on this tour. We toured the entire summer on the Vans Warped Tour with Lords of Brooklyn, Hazen Street, which was a supergroup between Madball and H2O, Good Charlotte, which they were Non Phixion fans. That shit was amazing. And Coheed and Cambria, amongst all the other bands that we met. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because for those that know that I also do rock music. This moment in my life was like going to kindergarten, because now I'm not just talking about doing rock or daydreaming about doing rock. I'm in the mix watching these bands and how they go from the bus to the stage, how they perform, excuse me, coffee's coming up, how they perform, how their staging is, how their mentality is backstage. All of this, I'm getting a master class, raw, uncut, watching hundreds of bands a day do this Vans Warped Tour. On top of the fact that Bill and Gore were educating me on a daily basis about thrash, about metal, but OG shit, throwback shit, giving me the history, the proper history. Because when you talk to dudes like Goat and Bill, these dudes walk around with details that you're just like, holy shit, dude. They're just super detailed. They know names, dates, places, people, rigs, radio shows. I think they used to do their own metal fanzine back in it. Like, these dudes were a part of the scenes, both scenes. I know Bill played in his band Injustice, and I know he did L'Amour's. I gotta ask him. I think he did CBGB's as well, playing bass, vocals. You can find his shit on YouTube. The shit is banging. Like, Injustice is dope. And so he has that experience. So his experience and him and Goat educating me just helped. So by the time I got to do it on my own with, Unsound and then Stillwell and then the bands you see, you got to understand the foundation was being laid during that time. So that's an important footnote about these guys and how important they are to me in my career. Man, there was one thing no, actually, before I even get to that, I got a funny story. I always got to share a funny story. So we're on the Vans Warped Tour, and we actually did it in a van, which is crazy. Now, I was having way too much fun on this tour. We would watch all these bands and these mosh pits and watch how everybody would get down and do their thing. And at night, we would have to pile into the van and get to the next venue or get to the hotel and crash out and then get up and go do it again. That's tour life. So to keep it entertaining, we would puff weed and do whatever and then get in the van, and we would just fucking crack jokes for hours and hours in the van and scream at the top of our lungs and play Slipknot or Metallica or whatever the fuck these guys wanted to play, from hip hop to metal. And it was just brilliant. But the story I want to get to, I remember we would have to share rooms. So we would have, double beds in each room, one bed against the wall, one bed next to the window. I would always share rooms with BlaQ. BlaQ was a remote control dictator. So when you would roll to the room, you would want control of that remote. You wanted to watch what you wanted to watch on TV. BlaQ wasn't having it. I was the invited guest. It was Non Phixion on tour. I was the added attraction. So BlaQ always wanted the remote. But what pissed me off about BlaQ about this was that every time he took the remote, BlaQ would he would get in his bed and he would pull the blankets, no lie, up to the bridge of his nose. So all you would see is his eyes. It was crazy. It was the weirdest shit I've ever seen. So he would fall asleep with the remote on top of his chest and the blanket up to the bridge of his eyes. So after a while, I was like, yo, man, this dude is sleeping. Like, I want to watch something. So I remember one time I was just fed up and I looked over to the side. I could see he was sleeping and I got up and I didn't want to wake him. So I got up out of my bed, I tippy-toe around and I go to grab the remote. But to him, I just looked like this big shadow hovering over his bed. So he's in the bed and he's sleeping. All of a sudden, he feels my shadow and he opens his eyes and he's like, and he's in full panic. And I'm like, yo, son, for real? Like, for real? You panicking, son? I just want the remote. Like, give me the remote, man. Now, another funny story about Sabak on that Vans Warped Tour. I bought clippers and I was cutting my hair on a daily basis. I was cutting my own hair. I think I might have cut Eclipse's hair once. I don't remember. Bach asked me to cut his hair one time. And yo, I'm not a barber, bro. I do one guard and I figure it out. So I don't have any barber skills whatsoever. So I started to cut Bach's hair. And the first guard I put on, he's like, nah, that's, my hair's still too long. You got to get another guard, make it a little closer to the skin. And I kind of goofed and I put on like the smallest guard I could find. And I made homie look like a lobotomy patient by the time the haircut was done. It looked like he was going in for brain surgery, bro. Oh my God, it was brilliant, man. I love Bach, man. Like I said, Bach always makes me laugh, man. You know, another footnote that I wanted to mention, I wanted to talk about, and it was a story that I forgot. The first time I ever seen Ill Bill and his brother, this was before I met Bill at Fat Beats. It was at a Stretch and Bobbito. They used to do these annual like seminars where they would invite rappers to play their demos and they would critique them and blah, blah, blah. It was whatever. It was dope. Like, to be there was dope. And one particular seminar, I remember, I think that they played Ill Bill's shit. I don't remember how it went down. This is a while ago. But what stood out to me was that after the seminar, we went outside. And there was this massive cipher of just a million rappers in a cipher going for it, and Ill Bill and Necro in the middle, like just battling dudes, blah blah blah, killing it. It's just dope to see, man. They were just always dedicated to their craft, always had that love for their craft, man. It was just beautiful. So on that note, let me just make sure, let me look at my cheat sheets here, you know. Wrote a lot of stuff here, man. Okay. Yeah, man. So on that note, I just want to say that Joey Smokes, what's up? Alyssa, Beat Junkie, Flex, what's up, Flex? And Nasty Ruckus is in the house. Salute to y'all. Thank y'all for being here at the Live from the Lab, episode 4. We're talking all things nonfiction. I just want to say that my brothers in nonfiction, I just want to thank them for everything that they've done for me, for being there for me at a very crucial point in my career, for always being loving and inviting towards me whenever we cross paths. And if you're in this room and you never heard Nonfixion, NonPhixion, I suggest you go down the rabbit hole. Go listen to them as a group, and then go listen to them as individuals. They just bring it. They're about their business. They're about the culture. They're about good music, and just the deep, most detailed. Like I said, it's a trip to listen to their music. It's dope. It's like a Pink Floyd. Not the vibe, not that vibe. Just how Pink Floyd just was a very detailed, trippy, beautiful group. to me, Non Phixion is that. But Non Phixion just got that punch you in your face music. They don't fuck around. So I just want to salute and just show mad love to Non Phixion. Thank you, Non Phixion. Fernando Brasil. What up, baby? So, before we get in the booth, I just want to talk about, I forgot to talk about this. I normally don't do this. You see me wearing one of the new Q Unique merch items. This is the Diamond in the Rough shirt. So the name of this line, it's called Designer Rhymes. What it is my rhymes, my verses in the shape of what the song is. So what you see are the lyrics of Diamond in the Rough in the shape of a diamond. On the back, on the bottom, it says Q Unique. It's all the lyrics back when breakfast was a bag of chips between mom and dad, the saddest trips, the young man that had a wish to have a platinum disc. All of that is written here. The whole Diamond in the Rough, or maybe one verse or two, I don't remember. But the bulk of the song is on the design. So I want to get over here. I want to show you some of the things. So now we're going to jump. The other song that we made merch for is my song BK or Brooklyn Bronx Brooklyn. We only did the Brooklyn verse. This is the Brooklyn Journal. It's got my lyrics in the shape of the Brooklyn Bridge. As you can see, it's a journal. You could write your thoughts. You could do your taxes. You could write your rhymes, your poems, your ideas, your schematics, whatever you want to write in here. This is a dope thing. Hardcover, beautiful journal. That's that with that. Also, we have the Brooklyn tote bag. These are all my lyrics on the tote bag. Once again, it's very strong. This ain't no bullshit tote bag. You could put a whole gallon or 2 gallons of water in this joint and carry it where you got to carry it. Dope. The lining, everything about this is really quality. You know I don't be plugging shit, but I'm very proud of this, man. My lyrics on as an icon or a graphic is pretty cool. So these are all my lyrics. You know, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, where if snitches looking to talk, they got bagged by Louis, a rocker would took for a walk, dead in the trunk of a Cadillac. All of that, that's right there on the verse on there. So that's the Brooklyn Bronx. Now here's the Brooklyn T-shirt, same thing. Got the Brooklyn, the design on the T-shirt. The quality is dope. It's one of those shirts that don't bell out on the sleeve. Really dope quality shirt. And then we got a purple Brooklyn hoodie. I've been wearing this in some of the pictures there. This is really cool stuff. Right there, boom. You already see the Diamond in the Rough. I already showed you the shirt for Diamond in the Rough. Again, a quality T-shirt. All my lyrics to Diamond in the Rough on this joint right here. And then we got the Diamond in the Rough tank top. Is really cool. Diamond in the Rough tank top for those that, like me, that are gym rat. You want to throw this on, or you just having a good day at the barbecue and it's really hot outside. And then we got the Diamond in the Rough hoodie. The hoodie's dope, man. This is a dope. I put the link in the description for y'all to go shopping. Thank you for your support ahead of time. Got the Green Grass. Now, for those that know my song, Green Grass, with the most streamed Q Unique video on the planet, Green Grass. You know, it's, again, now normally I don't put myself on Front Street, but it sure as the chocolate paper make the blunt sweet. It's right there. All the lyrics, Green Grass, boom. And then we got the Green Grass hoodie. A green grass hoodie. Dope shit, dope shit. Quality hoodie, too. Not one of them cheap joints, man. Oh, wait, I got a little message. Ah, Bach, see, that's what I mean, Bach. Bach always making me laugh, son. Bach is done. I ain't going to read what he said because he's a suck ass. Oh, my God, that's beautiful. And last but not least, the Chestnut Checkers T-shirt is a blue one joint right there. And here we go, take that there. And the Chestnut Checkers hoodie in the shape of a night piece of a chest. Those are my lyrics to chest. Blood on my knuckles, son, done running from trouble. You know, blah, blah, blah. You know the lyrics. I apparently don't seem to know my lyrics today. But that's the new merch, Designer Rhymes. The link is in the description. Thank you for supporting and picking up the Designer Rhymes item, whether you want a journal, a bag, tank top, hoodie, t-shirt, it's all there. Thank you in advance for doing that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head into the booth. Going to get into another track today. So let's get into the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Going to spit some Q Unique joint for you, and then we'll come back here. So let's get into it. Yeah. There we are. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into another Q Unique joint today. This one's called BlaQ Coffee. Produced by my homie DJ Element, the Brown Bag All-Stars, for those that know about the BlaQ Coffee album. This one's dedicated to my homie Keith. Yes, sir. Let's get into this real fresh, Q Unique, BlaQ Coffee. Yeah. Listen. My genealogy is made up of a criminal mind, categorized as a rapper of the lyrical kind. Better watch your step into slippery street corner. Street performance, performing to beat up a weaker performance. Watching the envious shrink while I'm sipping on a Monster Energy drink. Triggering bombs when my enemies think playtime is over. Over the shoulder catches cues of Willie Mays, giant you older bastards that close your caskets. Y'all wanna see the truth, but you can't look. The government took a page out of the Mafia handbook. Castellano and Gotti running for front office. Never mind all the violence and bodies the gun causes. BlaQ Coffee, 2 sugars. Wake up, mother trucker, be alert. Back off me, you shoulda took a word of advice. You're gonna pay the price. BlaQ Coffee, 2 sugars. Wake up, mother trucker, be alert. Back off me, you shoulda took a word of advice. You're gonna pay the price. Price. Woo! There's DJ Element on the cut. Son. Yeah, Non Phixion. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. We're gonna get back to, oh yes, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate that. We're gonna get back to the desk. All righty. That was fun. So, okay, so tomorrow will be the world premiere for the Remember Me official video. The song has been streaming for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's a very serious song. It's for those that have heard it. It's in the same crate as the Setup or Diamond in the Rough or 133rd Psalm. It's in that vein. If you haven't heard it, just go to your favorite streaming platform, type in Q Unique and Remember Me, and you can peep the joint. Produced by Zach Baird, co-produced by Scott Stallone, and mixed by Scott Stallone as well. Tomorrow, the official video popping off. So please come back. Tomorrow, we'll all watch it together. We'll chat together. And please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be here every week, every Wednesday, same time, talking about adventures in hip-hop with my friends and just people I come across. This was a lot of fun. I just want to say once again, oh, wait, before I even say that, just to remind you, for those that like what I do and rock, do me a big favor and subscribe to the Mother Fuzz YouTube page as well. We just dropped a new single about 2 weeks ago called Bury Me. We dropped the official video as well. We're going to have some new music dropping from Mother Fuzz in a couple of weeks. And so if you like what I do in rock, Mother Fuzz is the shit, and I'm very happy with it. So do me a solid and go subscribe to that. Go check it out. And also, please subscribe here to the Q Unique channel. Once again, shout out and love to my brothers in Non Phixion, Ill Bill, Lord Goat, Sabak Red, DJ Eclipse. I love you guys. Thank you for all that you do, all that you've done. Thank you for inviting me into the circle. I always felt like I was kind of like the Capadonna of nonfiction anyway. So much love to y'all. And love to you guys that came out and fucking hung out with me during this episode. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for the listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you next Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all be peace.